For some reason, I have this dream, this reoccurring dream where I'm the female version of John Marston. Ugh, I can't even imagine. That woman would be ugly. I'm sorry. Alright, what's up everyone? We're doing something a little different today. Actually non-gameplay related, but kind of. So I came across this at work, right? I was screwing around at work and I saw this. I was like, what the hell is this? And this is kind of like a relic almost, because it's I think the last post was like around 2014. It hasn't been touched since then. It hasn't been infected with like, you know, like the Red Dead 2 stuff. I'm not saying like I hate Red Dead 2 or whatever, but it's kind of nice just to see like there's like a single RDR1 thing that's still around. Because I mean, from what I've seen, the forums, you know, are down. For the original Red Dead forums are down. And even like the Red Dead subreddit, you know, Red Dead Redemption subreddit, all became RDR2 shit. So anyway, I was looking at this and I was laughing at a few of these. I didn't read them all, but I just think it'd probably be pretty fun to go through these. So I guess the concept behind this is that this Tumblr is basically like where you submit things that you think that other people might give you shit for, or like your opinion, you know, people's opinions about the game or whatever. And, you know, look at this. This was posted 11 years ago, you know, at the time of this recording, which is 2023. So it's just nuts to see that, man. It's just like, this probably opened in like, if it was 11 years ago, it probably opened in like 2012, maybe 2011. No, it probably would have been 2012, maybe 2011. I don't know how. It doesn't show the exact date. But anyway, I want to go through a few of these. I don't know. I don't know if we'll go through all of them because there's a ton here. We see we're at number 43. I just want to start from oldest to newest. So let's start. Here we'll do 3 of them. Now I could shuffle between the 3. I'll read them and see what I think. I secretly love being able to run off cliffs, infinite number of times. That's pretty fun, especially with the ragdoll mechanic in the first game. I think that was really fun to do that. All right. I wish John ended up with Bonnie instead. I have to agree. I mean, I'm sure people will probably give me shit for thinking this as well, but I just feel like, and obviously, like, this is without RDR2, right? Because I'm sure people are like, oh, well, you know, in RDR2 they were together, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, like, within the single context of the first game. I personally feel like Bonnie and John had more chemistry. And I feel like that they would have been better together than Abigail and John. Abigail was just like such an... I mean, like, you kind of do that sometimes, right? With your girlfriend or wife or whatever, or you kind of are, like, very sarcastic with each other and stuff. But, like, I don't know. I just feel like Bonnie overall would be better for John. And she liked him, too. Like, even... I think it's the cutscene where he either gives her the corn or something, like, when he first gets back onto the ranch and she's, like, looking down and, like moving like her shoe, kind of like, you know, like kind of like a girl would, kind of like, oh, he doesn't notice me, you know, like kind of like that way.
Ma'am?
So I mean, I think that they would have ended up better too. Let's see. Cougars generally always end up killing my horse. Then more of them appear out of nowhere. Yes, that's true. I think that that Rockstar did that on purpose. Not only with cougars, but with bears too, and wolves. It's like they just spawn out of hell, and like as soon as you kill one, then 5 more appear. So they definitely did that on purpose, because, you know, Rockstar likes to troll us. All right, let's go to the next 3. I think this is kind of a good way to do it, I guess. I know like you could look like through actual Tumblr, but I want to go through this way, like how it originally looked. So 12 years ago, I guess that was the first post, 12 years ago. So that would have been 12 years. So 2011 then. So this is probably since 2011. Though it hurt to see John die, I feel like Red Dead's ending fit perfectly. I have to agree. I mean, it was a shock, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Red Dead was one of the first games where the main protagonist dies. I don't think, I mean, it might have been done in another game, if, forgive me, mention it if you know. But I don't remember, like, a mainstream game like that happening where the protagonist dies outright like that. And I think that it was a perfect fit as well, because it kind of made it more realistic, and it kind of showed to the point that, and it kind of validated what Dutch said at the end of the game, that there'll always be another monster, and as soon as I'm gone, they're going to find somebody else. And he was right, I think that it did hurt, and it was very sad the first time to see him die. I almost cried, but I was playing, with my uncle. He was mentally disabled, and he was actually crying when John died. I almost did, but I held back. But yeah, I mean, I agree. And even like some people I guess it depends. Like if you played RDR2, I'm sure people would probably say Arthur's death was better, but I don't think so. I think with John, it was more unexpected, and we didn't anticipate it. Like with Arthur, like by chapter 2 or 3, you knew he was going to die. So I feel like that John's death was more impactful, but I don't know. Maybe it's just because I played the first game first, so I have that kind of... I'm looking at it through that lens. All right, let's see what this next one is. I love getting lost in the RDR map. I do too. I've played the game so many times, but I still just like love wandering the areas that I either haven't been to too much, or I haven't, there's like certain areas of the map where you don't really travel too often in the story, and I like getting lost in those areas as well. So I agree with that one. I'm sure there's going to be some of them I don't agree with. All right, let's go on to the next page here. This is really cool though. I mean, because like I said, this is almost like a time vault. And I'm kind of glad that it hasn't really been touched by like Red Dead 2. And okay, whenever I saw the ending sequence of John dying, I sulked around my house the rest of the day. It's very depressing, yeah. Don't blame me. And if you're wondering why these images aren't that high of quality, it's just like they're like 12 or 13-year-old images, so they're not going to be in 4K quality, but so it's going to be a little bit blurry, but that's okay. Yeah. It's kind of just like what I was talking about before. It's very sad and unexpected. When I first heard Far Away by Jose Gonzalez, I wandered the area aimlessly to the song. It was one of the most fitting game experiences I've ever had. I agree. I think that I still like that song. Like I'll listen to it sometimes, even if I'm not playing the game. Like if I'm studying or even driving, or like if I'm going on a hike, that is the perfect song to listen to. If you're going on a hike or if you're walking out in nature. It is the perfect song, and I think that was a really well-timed song. And I mean the game has all kinds of great music in it, but I definitely say Far Away definitely sticks out, and definitely a good one if you're going on a road trip too to listen to. Let me see. I secretly hate replaying because I have to relive John's death and I always cry. Oh, yeah. I mean I recently did it 100%. It took me this long to do it 100%. But usually before that, whenever I'd replay, I'd only play up to the point right where the mission before John gets killed. And I wouldn't progress any further in the story, and I would just keep playing as John the rest of the time. Oh, but yeah. A few of them have to do with his death. I wonder if this guy still does this. I don't, we'll see when the last confession was, but I think the last one was like in 2014, so I highly doubt the guy's even active. I enjoy killing and skinning animals a little too much in this game. I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, certain ones, especially like if they pissed me off, oh my gosh, I would like relish the moment. Like, if it was a cougar or a bear that pissed me off, I'd throw like fire or dynamite at it and be like, fuck you. Yeah, I don't think that's too bad of a confession. I don't think that's really... I don't get why everyone hates Jack Marston so much. Now, this is interesting because, and I was around back then too, and I can attest to this, it seems like that as time has gone on, people have been more favorable to Jack, but back then everyone hated Jack. A lot of people hated Jack. I hated Jack too for the longest time, until as I grew up more and I played the game more, and kind of understood that he acts that way because he's a teenage boy, right? Like who of us out here, if you're a man or whatever, when you were a teenage boy, I know I was an asshole. I was a piece of shit. Like I felt bad for my mom having to deal with me at that age, because I know I was an asshole. And especially like when you've gone through something like Jack did, when you've gone through a lot of stuff and you don't have an outlet for your anger, you'll lash out, and you lash out at everybody. Even it shows like even when John came back, Jack was still like kind of lashing out at him, even though he wanted his dad around and he missed his dad. But when John came back, that's why he was kind of lashing out at him, like, oh, whatever, you'll just go away again.
You're tensing up.
I'm not.
You are. Your back's tense and it's making the rifle jump. You're holding it wrong. Here, let me show you.
I don't need you to show me, Paul.
I guess not.
Don't show me and you'll just run off again or something. It's better I teach myself.
I ain't going nowhere.
Whatever you say, Paul.
And that's kind of what we do. I don't want to sound like I'm a psychologist, but that's kind of what we do. It's kind of like a learned behavior. It's kind of like you anticipate the negative happening, so that when it happens, you either think that you're more prepared for it, or that you can control it somehow, but you're not, and it just becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy. But anyway, I think that's why Jack acts the way he does. Especially like when John's alive. The only thing I didn't like that, but I also kind of didn't like his voice. Like John, like even when he was riding around, like Jack would always be like, "Work, you damn nag. Ooh, can I take your coat?" It's like it's just kind of annoying. As an adult, his voice is what bothers me more than his actual character. But as I've grown up more, and as I've played the game more, I kind of see why Jack acts the way he does. So that's interesting. But yeah, back then a lot of people didn't like him. That's not really a surprise. John Marston was the first video game character that I ever felt connected with when he died. I was honestly shocked and saddened, even though the ending is pure Western. Yeah, once again about his death, and I think so too. Like John Marston's like one of my favorite video game characters of all time. The John versus Arthur debate always pops up. I'm taking John any day, but like I said, I think it depends what game you play, because I'm sure there's people who played RDR2 who love Arthur more, but I just like John more. But yeah, so I agree with that one as well. So far I've agreed with a lot of them. This is pretty fun. I like this. Basically, it's like I said, just being able to hear different opinions and see kind of what people think, especially like back then when the game was, newer. I don't think this is when it exactly came out, but I think it came out in 2011. I hate Seth and all of his missions. Seth can be a little bit of annoying. I'm trying to remember, his missions, they weren't the worst. Personally, I hated the missions in Mexico the most. Now, I like the actual story in Mexico, but I feel like it dragged on for so long. Like, it was like one mission with the Santa on Escalera side of the map. Then you gotta go all the way to Diaz Coronas. Basically, almost all of them have you ride all the way to Diaz Coronas and ride back. And then if you're with the rebels, it's Chuparosa, or you're at Agave Viejo, or you're at Luis's house, and you have to ride all the way to Diaz Coronas and ride all the way back. And I hated that. Like, I would rather do Seth missions than some of the Mexico missions. Even when I'm replaying the game, I hate doing that part in Mexico, because sometimes it just drags on. But yeah, Seth, his character is kind of annoying, but he's kind of funny. But yeah, I kind of agree, but I kind of disagree with that one. Alright, playing Red Dead when you're hyper is not a good thing. I always end up shooting my horse in the head when I was hunting rabbits. I've done that many times. The worst part is when it happens in a gunfight, like when you're fighting with enemies, or even in multiplayer. I've done that a few times where it's a certain like bag match, and I'm trying to ride to capture the bag, and I accidentally shoot my horse because I'm trying to shoot somebody else there. That is the worst thing. But at least in the game you can shoot horse, unlike Red Dead 2 where you can't do anything. But anyway, I don't want to just shit on Red Dead 2, but yeah, that sucks when that happens. I always hated DeSanta. I really wanted to kill him myself. However, I got so deep into character that it felt right to leave him to the rebels. I hated DeSanta too. I think that he was a spineless piece of shit. I think that he's just a bootlicker, and yeah, I don't like him. Obviously, you're not supposed to like him, but I actually killed him myself if I remember correctly. Yeah, I like tortured. No, I think I gave like a knife in his foot or something, like made him like die slow. I think that's what I did with him. But yeah, I didn't like him either. But then again, he's a villain. We're not supposed to like him. All right, is that all for this page? Okay, let's go on to 41 here. Like I said, I don't know if I'll do the whole thing in this video. I might have to split it, but oh my god, I just saw the I just saw the other one there. Oh my god. Tumblr spoiled the end for me. Well, you shouldn't be on Tumblr. I always hate that when people do that. It's like, I mean, I get it, right? Like if I know something is out, I avoid all social media. Not that I'm on a ton of social media, but if it's like a movie or if it's a game I'm interested in, I avoid it, and I don't watch like I might watch like a let's play like a little bit just to see what it's like, but I don't watch the whole thing. But I don't understand when people are like, oh, or even like if it's a movie review. Obviously, if someone is reviewing a movie, it's going to be a spoiler. No shit. But I don't know. I just hate when people, not against this person in particular, but I hate when people do that in general. It's like, oh, it spoiled it for me. It's like, you could have done things to avoid it. You didn't have to be online. Oh my god, here we go. This is classic Tumblr, and this is it's very interesting the things you find on if you search Red Dead Redemption in Tumblr. You'll see a whole bunch of people, having like John and Arthur together, and they're doing the Brokeback Mountain kind of shit. I mean, if that's your thing, all right, but yeah, it's kind of strange. I have to read. I read them all. I have to read this one. I totally have sex with Jack. Well, sir or ma'am, I don't know what you are or what you were back then. You're entitled to your opinion, but I'm gonna have to go a hard disagree with that. Hard disagree. I hate to say it, but it's a hard disagree. All right. Now the question is, I'm sure people are asking Apache, do you have a Red Dead? What would you? It's not a waifu because it's not anime, or I guess a waifu doesn't have to be like Japanese or anime. If you had to, even keep in mind it's a video game character, it doesn't matter anyway. Who would you? Who is your Red Dead waifu? I guess if you could call it that. Oh well, out of the game, there's really not too many female characters. I mean, there's a lot of NPCs, but I'm talking like actual characters. You have what? You have Bonnie, you have Louisa, and you have Abigail. Those are my pick. I have to pick between those three. If I had to pick one, Abigail's out of the picture, so it's either between Bonnie and Louisa. I think I'm gonna go Louisa. That'd probably be mine's. All right, let's move on. Irish is my second favorite character just because of his accent. Yeah, his accent is pretty nice. Nice Irish accent. That's my poor attempt at an Irish accent, but yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, his accent is cool, but he's kind of annoying too, how he just totally ditches John every chance he gets. Red Dead Redemption made me realize how much things have changed in the last 100 years, from technology to how people view others. Yeah, that's true, because the game takes place in 1911. The game is released almost, I didn't even realize that. The game is released almost 100 years after it takes place. I mean, I don't think they intended that, but that's kind of interesting. I mean, yeah, like let's say from 1911 to 2011, yeah, a lot changed. Technology-wise, a ton. I mean, I feel like that ever since World War II, we've just been on a fast track. Like we've advanced so much in technology, and to how people view each other. In a way, that's changed. In a way, it hasn't. There's a quote in the game early when he's talking to Bonnie where John says that people don't forget. Nothing gets forgiven. Someone's mad at this person for they're killing their great-great-grandfather that they never met. And that's kind of true even nowadays. Like there's people, who have grievances, which are understandable, right? Like given like the history of things. I won't go too much into this. Given the history of what happened to certain groups of people. But I mean, I'm not saying we should forget those things, but at what point do we move on? What point do we recognize, yes, this happened, but this doesn't have to be our whole life. Our whole life doesn't have to be like, oh, well, I hate these group of people because they did this. Most of the time, the people who did that are dead. They did that to your ancestor who's dead. Like even me, for example. Like I've done genealogy, and I found out that my third or fourth great grandfather, he was a part of the Taos revolt when the Americans, were occupying, or when they were taking over New Mexico. And he was hung. He was one of the leaders of the revolt, and he was hung by the U.S. Army. So am I going to be like, you guys, am I going to go to the Army now and like knock on the Army door like, hello, Army, you guys killed my third great grandfather. I don't have a picture of him. I don't know what he looks like. I know his name, but that's about it. But you killed him, and I want compensation for that. I want revenge. It's like, that doesn't solve anything. The people who did that are dead. So I mean, I think that in general things are better, but there are still certain groups of people and certain sects, even like there's some people in general that hold grievances against either other groups of people or people who did something against their ancestors that they never met. And I think that in order for us to really move forward, we need to move past that. Like recognize what happened and not justifying or saying it's okay, but being able to move forward with, the cards we're dealt and what we're given. But anyway, let me get off my soapbox. But I really don't like all the racing missions you have to do for West Dickens. I don't mind them too much. I feel like they add variety. It did kind of get repetitive where you were kind of like tricking people like, oh, he shot it out of the air. And I could see that kind of getting a little bit boring. But the racing I really didn't mind. Undead Nightmare got me hooked on the zombie genre. I don't even think I was singing this picture before. Undead Nightmare got me hooked. I would say for me, I liked the zombie genre before then. Like, obviously, I was on the Walking Dead train when the Walking Dead was huge. Like, like the early 2010s when, the Walking Dead TV show was on and the games. I would say that was my first thing that kind of... I mean, I like zombies, but I'm not, like, super hooked on them. But I liked, the zombie genre and Undead Nightmare as a port. I would still say to this day, Undead Nightmare is like the coolest DLC ever. And I don't think I'm saying that just as I'm biased just because I play Red Dead. I know there's other games, especially back then, that had great DLCs. But I feel like Undead Nightmare is one of the best DLCs of all times. Because it added stuff to the single player and it added stuff to the multiplayer. And nowadays we don't get either of that. So I would say that Undead Nightmare is one of the best DLCs of all time. Alright, let's see here. I want to be good to get the perks, but I wish I could shoot people whenever I wanted. Thank goodness for Steve's Landing. I want to be good to get the perks, but I just want to shoot people. Oh, is he talking about like the fuck, what is that called? The honor system? Yeah, I can see that. Some of the NPCs are assholes, and I feel like it was worse in Red Dead 2, where some of the NPCs are just assholes and they're begging for you to shoot them. I could see his point though. I mostly play good, but there are a few times where I'll be evil and just do whatever. Red Dead Redemption is better than Skyrim. Whenever someone praises Skyrim's landscapes, I can't help but think Red Dead Redemption did it better. Oh wow, that is a statement. I'm sure there's tons of people. I mean, there's people who still play Skyrim to this day, just like there's people who play Red Dead to this day. I bet you there's a ton of people that probably disagree with that. I played both games, pretty extensively. Environments? We can't compare now, I don't think. Well, I guess we could. The game's released around the same time. Obviously, there's more to Skyrim than there is to Red Dead. The Skyrim has different landscapes. I think I agree, actually. Like, obviously, Skyrim has more gameplay. It has, it's longer. There's more to do. But I kind of feel like if you're just comparing the landscapes, like, I feel like especially the lighting, I feel like that Red Dead Redemption has better lighting when it comes to, like, sunlight and stuff. Like, in Skyrim, I've never seen a sunset where I was just like, oh, that looks pretty, Skyrim is kind of it's kind of the same. I don't know, I could be wrong, but I feel like that Red Dead Redemption has a better sunlight. Especially how it reflects off the light. I feel like that's better done in Red Dead than in Skyrim. Yeah, I could kind of see this person's point. I never really thought about that, but I could see that. I hate how I never I hate how I never could find the animal I was looking for. But when I stopped searching, there it was. That always happens. I swear to God they do that on purpose. I think they do that based on whatever challenge that you have to do. Like, because if that like, I remember, what was it? I was trying to do one of the challenges and it was looking for skunks. I could not find a skunk for the life of me. But before or after, you find skunks all the time. So I literally had to go to like where their one spawns in Armadillo and go to it over and over. But yeah, that happens all the time. It's so damn annoying. With skunks and with beavers too. The beavers, oh my God. You could spend like an hour looking for beavers and not find any when you need it for that one stranger mission. I think we'll do a couple more and then I'll probably call it for this video. I don't want to take too long. I don't even know if people will like this. Maybe they will, maybe they won't, but I just figure we'll experiment. There will be a Red Dead gameplay video later this month, but I just wanted to make this as well, just to see if people like it. And I think it's fun to read these. I hate that when I call my horse, he never stops right in front of me. I have to run right after him. It kind of depends. I never really had too much of a problem with that. I feel like certain ones, they either don't listen or they won't come as much. Especially like when you're playing Undead Nightmare. A lot of the undead horses won't come, you know, directly to you. But, or what was, in multiplayer that happens too, like I think it's the bull and the buffalo. I think the zebra donkey comes to you. Maybe it does. I don't think it does, no. Certain mounts you have to run after them, but I never really bothered me with a horse. I wish one day to marry a man like John Marston. Well, John seems like a pretty decent guy, you know. Gives hope that there's decent men out there. I personally don't want to marry John Marston, but if you want to marry him, you go right ahead. Oh, man. I mean, in general, like, I would say Johnson, he's a nice dude, you know. He's kind of like that fine line of, he's nice, but he's not like a pushover. Like, he's nice, but you don't want to like fuck with him, you know. And I kind of like that about him as well. He balances it well. I think Jack is adorable both as a teenager and an adult. Oh, he's adorable. You think Jack's adorable? Well, I don't know about adorable. I mean, I think I like him better now, but I wouldn't say adorable, but you're entitled to that. Edgar Ross took my family post. We'll resume next Sunday when I get... Oh my God. Maybe, so I guess this guy went to travel somewhere and he said, Edgar Ross took my family. But I mean, this is just so cool. This blog rules. It is pretty entertaining. But people post some weird shit. I wonder if there's going to be like really weird ones later on. When I first played Undead Nightmare, I thought it was scary. But each time I play it, it's not as scary anymore. Did I ever think it was scary? When I first played it, I did think it was a little bit scary. Because I was playing like in the dark, you know. I remember I was so excited, man. I was so excited when that came out. But, I mean, I don't think it's too scary. I think there's scarier games than that. There's no, like, jump scares or anything, which is kind of nice. But I would say it would get kind of creepy sometimes, especially at, like, night, and if you're fighting off a whole group of them in a cemetery, that can be a little bit creepy sometimes. But I didn't think it was too scary. But I'm not really into horror or anything either. Like, I don't mind, like, slashers and stuff, but I don't like... I hate the ones that have, like, you know, demons and all that shit. No, I don't want to watch that crap. I love New Austin, that's a little spelled wrong, and wish that the majority of the game could have taken place there or West Elizabeth. It seemed like most of the time was spent in Nuevo Paradiso. And that's exactly what I said at the beginning. And it's so funny. I actually looked at the amount of missions. They're the same. I think each region has the same. I think West Elizabeth has like a little bit less, but like 1 or 2 missions less than the other areas. But New Austin and Nuevo Paradiso were the same. I didn't think that, but you know why it feels long? Because you have to ride from Escalera to Diez Coronas, or from Chuparosa or Viejo, or Luis's camp to Diez Coronas. That's why it feels so long, because you spend so much time riding or following the train or trying to either protecting the train or raiding the train. Like that's why I don't like the Mexico missions, because it's so much like riding all the time back and forth from one area of the map to the other, and that's why it feels so long. When John Marston came to his last stand, I tried to use Deadeye to kill everybody. I didn't want my hero to go. I cried as I tried to go back to an earlier save so I could try again. I didn't want it to happen. None of us wanted to happen. I remember when it first happened, I thought maybe there's a way I could save him. And I tried different guns. I tried the Mauser, it didn't work. I tried the semi-pistol, it didn't work. I tried the high power pistol, it didn't work. So there's no way to save them, but like I said before, I think that's what makes the game better, and it makes it, a masterpiece. Because odds are, if this story really happened, that's probably what would really happen, is you end up getting killed. Even back in the Old West, most of the outlaws got killed. Or if they did, they ran away somewhere. And most of the time, there was never a happy ending to being an outlaw. And I think that's the real, the reality of what happened. I don't think I could ever finish the game after knowing... I don't think I could ever finish the game after knowing that John dies in the end. Well, some people don't, but I think it's still worth it to finish it, especially to get your revenge on that piece of shit Edgar Ross. But yeah, I think it's worth it to do that. Because, Edgar Ross really didn't have to kill John. But he's going to take credit for all the work John did. But anyway, fuck Edgar Ross. I hate him. He's probably the character I hate the most. Alright, I think we'll do this page, and then I think that'll be it for this video. I disagree with the last confession sent for my PS3 in pure shock. I can't believe it. Alright, anyway, I don't read these. I love the world of Red Dead, the music and the gameplay. But while there's so much potential for great missions, they just disappointed. They disappointed with the missions. That's interesting. I've never heard that before. Like, I've heard certain areas of the game being disappointing, or like people didn't like it, but I never heard that the missions were disappointing. I think there was a lot of I would have to disagree with this. I think there's a lot of great missions in the game. Like, just to name some off the top of my head, I would say the assault on Fort Mercer was a good one. In Mexico, it was my favorite one in Mexico. I don't even know if I have a favorite one in Mexico. I guess when you're going after DeSanta, I guess I like that one in Mexico. But other than that, I don't think I really liked any of the other ones. West Elizabeth, I liked. I liked all the missions that involved like Dutchess Gang. That probably sounding a little biased coming from me, but I liked all those missions. And I also liked like riding up to Dutch's camp, like in the final showdown when you're riding with the army. That is so cool. I don't know how someone can like that, or like the Serendipity wreck. I don't know. I think that there's a lot of good missions in the first game, but I don't know. Maybe it just wasn't this person's cup of tea. I thought John's death was my fault, and I even Googled how to bring him back. After I found out that's just how the game ends, I feel like one of my best friends had just died. There's a lot about John's death on here, but yeah, I remember I was Googling it too, like thinking, is this the ending? Is there a way to save him? And it's like, nope, there's no way to save him. You're screwed. I was like, oh man, but yeah, that's true. I like how it's like edited like this, how it's like the red, background with the white text. I like this. Have you ever thought about this? In Undead Nightmare DLC, there are always zones that are always safe. Fort Mercer is safe because of its strong walls and army presence. El Presidio is safe because of its high walls, remote location, and mounted cannons. Casa Madrugada is safe because Landon Ricketts is there. Go Ricketts! Yeah, that's true. That's literally the only reason why it's safe is because he's there. He's bored just shooting zombies for fun. One area I didn't get how there were so many zombies on was Cochene. Like, why are there so many zombies up there, and why is it not like a safe zone? Because, think about it. You're out in the wilderness. How many zombies are really going to be in the wilderness? You think there's going to be more zombies out in the towns than there would be in the wilderness. And plus, with how high up it is, how is it not a safe zone? I never understood that, but yeah, I agree. I agree with that one. I hate how I hate how. Oh, this is funny. I hate how almost everyone says, I cried when John died. Dead. No, you didn't. Yeah, especially that other guy who was jumping off of cliffs and shit. He wasn't serious. No, but I mean, that one's kind of funny. I like this one. But it's true. I mean, John dies how many times throughout the story? Especially if you're careless or if you're stupid. Some of the things you can't help, but yeah, I think I like this one. That one's pretty funny. I wish my father was like John Marston. Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, I would take John Marston. I mean, my real father wasn't the best person, so I would take John Marston over him. I won't go too much into detail about that, but DeSante was my favorite character. What? I think I've played his missions more than I've played the entire game. Why? I don't think I've ever seen, this is the first time I think I've seen that. I don't think I've ever seen anyone say that they like DeSanta. Like, even people who like villains, like me, like, I like Dutch. But, like, I've never seen anyone say, I like DeSanta. Wow, that is an interesting opinion. Well, I have to disagree. He's not my favorite character, and I hated his missions. Yeah, well, he had a couple fun ones. Like, that one train one was kind of fun, but they did it like 4 times in Mexico, and it's like, oh my god, I don't care anymore. Luis's were kind of, some of them were fine, but a lot of them were annoying too. I just felt like I was fighting the whole war for no reason, and no one was really helping John, you know? I really loved Abigail, but in the end, I think Bonnie would have been John's perfect woman. You know, if he didn't die. you know, if he didn't die. If he was still breathing air, she would have been perfect for him. I have to agree with this one too. I didn't like Abigail, really. I mean, she warmed up a little bit towards the end, but I didn't really like her. Even in Red Dead 2, I didn't really like her. She just does not seem like a good person, in my opinion. I could be wrong. I don't know her. She might be like one of those women that's like mean to everyone else, but is like nice to the person she's with. That's probably what it is, but I just always found her like really kind of mean for like no reason. I don't know. Maybe she lived too rough of a life. I shouldn't judge, but I have to agree. I think Bonnie would have been better. And Bonnie's younger. John, you could have had a younger woman right there. And that's so funny. I think it's funny that Bonnie, they say Bonnie is like old, but she's only like 27 or 28. It's like, even though back then most people only lived to like 40 or 50, so I guess that makes sense. I guess like 27 and 28 was like middle age back then. I love the RDR world, but it creeps me out a lot. I'm not sure I would want to live there. Every time though I thought I met a halfway decent person, they turned out to be crazy. It also seemed kind of lonely. I would want to live in the RDR world. I think that would be great. Like, pretty much you could do whatever you wanted for the most part. It depends on where you wanted to live and what you would be doing. Like, if you were living out in the sticks, like if you were living in like Gaptooth Breach, that would suck. I would not want to live there. But like if you're like living, I think Armadillo would be fun to live in. I would like to live in Tall Trees. I think that would be cool. Like, be part of Dutch's gang. That'd be cool. Chuparosa could be interesting. But, I mean, there are certain areas where it does seem kind of lonely. I could see where he's saying that. And there are a lot of crazy people, but you just think about the West in general. A lot of people were crazy. Especially thinking about how, I mean, not everyone was crazy, right? But a lot of people probably had PTSD, right? Because a lot of people came over from the war. That's when more people came out west, was after the Civil War. So you have all these people with all this mental stuff, and you know, no real. I mean, there was law presence in some areas, but other areas there was like little to no law presence. So you add crazy people with guns, then yeah, it's gonna be kind of scary. Yeah, you have people like Jeb, you know, who love their horse. You have the cannibals. There's a lot you got to look. Swindlers like Nigel West Dickens. There's a lot you got to look out for. But I think it'd be exciting. I think it would definitely be exciting. Like, I don't feel like I'd be bored in the RDR world. All right, I lied. I'm gonna do one more. Oh my god, I just saw that. Oh, why did I have to look at what I was clicking? Cougars. I really wish the horses would fight back and not just stand there and get killed. I kind of wish that too. But then again, I guess horses would probably be more startled than fighting. But like, that would be interesting if they added that, like where, like let's say a group of wolves is attacking, and then the horse could like kick back, or you could trample. Like you could do that in Gun, where you could trample things when you're riding a horse. I wish that they kind of put that in Red Dead. But I don't think a horse would be able to stand a chance against a cougar. The horse would be fighting an uphill battle and would get killed immediately. So I kind of agree, but I don't think the horse would really stand a chance. Oh my god. I don't even know if I could read this. I don't even know if I should read this. But, you know, this is a confession, so I have to read all of them. If John was real, I would feed him until he's full and suck his dick at the same time. Then proceed to fuck him every single day of his
What?
life.
Bro, what are you talking about,
I'm
man?
not even joking. Well, sir, I would have to say that you are a very sick person. I think you need help. And I hope you don't think this way anymore. But maybe you're just being a teenager at the time, thinking you're funny. But I really hope that there's not someone. But the scary thing is, there probably are people who like that. Every time my horse... Sometimes I give my horse backstories as I elaborate RDR itself. Giving your horse backstories. I never did that with the horse, but I did do that with certain characters, like, you know, you guys saw earlier this year. Well, not earlier, but, you know, part of the 1K sub was I did the crappy, my high school project, and I gave backstories to multiplayer characters. So I could see doing that. That's pretty fun. Oh my god. Were we entering the weird Tumblr territory now? Did we get past all the fun shit? Now we're in like the weird crap. For some reason, I have this dream, this reoccurring dream where I'm the female version of John Marston. Ugh, I can't even imagine. That woman would be ugly. I'm sorry. That would be an ugly lady. The female version. I just can't help but to think of like John Marston's face. Oh my god. And he has like a ponytail or something. Oh my god, no. No, I disagree with this one, and I don't know what this is. I want to ask this person, are you still having those streams? Oh my god. I always thought that John and Professor McDougal would make for an awesome Odd Couple-like sitcom. I guess you could kind of see it. One whacked out professor comes into the West and meets a former outlaw. What could go wrong? Yeah, I could kind of see that. But what McDougal's about to find out is the West isn't so civilized. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I could see that. I'm still trying to wrap my brain around that other one. That annoying moment when the bandits get stuck inside mountain wall. Oh yeah, I hated that. This happened all the time. Like all of a sudden a gun would pop out of the mountain wall and shoot you. Or you get killed. Or the worst part is if it's someone with a shotgun and they kill you. That's the worst. Yeah, I agree. I would just have to throw dynamite on there and kill them. That happens sometimes in multiplayer too. Not with players, but like with NPCs, that'll happen sometimes. I think we're gonna finish it here with these last three. Alright. I think I like Jack Marston a whole lot more than most people did. Whenever I replay this game, I ignore all the strange side quests just so I can do them as Jack and give him his own little adventure. Just like you showed me, Paul. I think that's kind of a cool concept. But even like I was saying, like most people didn't like Jack, but this person did. And I think as I've gotten older, I like him a little more. He's probably still not my favorite, but I don't like hate him like I did when I was, younger. But yeah, that's kind of a cool idea to actually give him his own kind of adventure. And it's like almost like 2 games, right? That's probably smart to do it like that way. Because then you'd have a ton to do, probably. Yeah. That's actually smart. Next time I replay it, maybe I'll do it that way. That's a good idea. I fell in love with John the more I played Red Dead Redemption. My name's Abigail, really? Wow. And when I found out his wife shared the same name as me, I felt like it was fate. That's interesting. You don't meet too many women named Abigail. I'm trying to think. I mean, maybe like Abby, but I haven't met a woman named Abigail. We need to bring back some classic names like that, like Bonnie and Abigail, but everyone's too busy doing weird versions of Nevea and spelling their name all weird with accents and looking stupid. So, but anyway, that's interesting though. Someone named Abigail. My name isn't in Red Dead, so it'd be kind of interesting if if like someone was like mentioning my name in the game. I missed my calling for about 120 years. I should have lived in the true Wild West. I think it'd be awesome to live. I mean, obviously it was dangerous. There's like the other posted, there's a bunch of crazy people. You have to always be looking over your shoulder, especially if you're not living in town or if you're running from the law. But I would want to live there. I mean, I think it'd be amazing. It'd be better than here. I don't know, maybe not. But I just think it'd be definitely interesting to be able to go back and see that. But I've even felt that for a long time. Like I always just felt like, man, I was playing the wrong time because, you know, a lot of people have said that, you know, what is that saying? That I'm like wise beyond my year. I'm not like bragging or anything, but like people have told me that a lot. It's like, oh, you're really, you know, it's like I don't think like the average, you know, 20-something-year-old, you know, like I don't know. I don't know if it's just like my life experiences because I've been through a lot in life at such a young age. I've had a lot of things happen, but I don't know if that's the reason or just that's just how I naturally am. But I've always just felt like, man, I always felt like I was born in the wrong time. I felt like I was like, sometimes I'm like, man, I wish I was born like, I feel like I should have been born like 20 or 30 years older than the year I was born, you know. But I don't know. We're all in this time, so you have to accept it. But yeah, this is pretty fun. I'll have to mark where I left off on page 38. No, let's not go to that one. I don't want to leave. No, roll down. I don't want to leave on that one. We gotta leave on the. We have to leave. I don't want to leave on a weird one. But anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this this dive into the Red Dead Confessions Tumblr, and I hope you guys enjoy. I think I'll continue it. I think I've had pretty much fun reading these and giving my input, and I hope you guys are having fun. And if you want to answer these yourself in the comment, go ahead, and I would I would love to read them. So anyway, still Red Dead content, but a little bit different, and I hope you guys enjoy and hope to see you next time. Thank you.